Hey guys, welcome to a new video on the worldwide history of history. I'm James and we are talking about the lost Beatles filming site. Yep, we are talking about West Malling Airfield. Now, let's begin the story of West Malling Airfield. West Malling Airfield was an airfield that was originally used during the First World War, but it was continually used through the Second World War and through the 50s and 60s. The site was also used as the filming location for the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour. This iconic film was very psychedelic and originally, upon release, was a huge failure. Now, we are going to talk about the sad fate of this once iconic site and what happened to it. So it all starts with a site called Kings Hill. Kings Hill was a planned development back in the late 1980s that would take up and occupy the former site that was used for the West Malling Airfield. Now, to look at it carefully, there is still some remaining portions of the airfield, including the iconic Airfield Control Tower. But other than that, not much survives. Basically, what happened was they demolished most of the site, including the structures, these giant walls that were used in the Magical Mystery Tour. You might know this scene from the Magical Mystery Tour's I Am the Walrus scene. We see on top of the walls these four policemen and a group of men in a long shirt or gown wearing these bald caps on their heads, and we see the Beatles dressed up in their costumes. We see George right here as a rabbit. We see what apparently is Paul as a hippopotamus or something like that. We see Ringo as a bird and John as the walrus. But on the cover of the album, which let's see that again. Here we see some pictures from the film, but on the cover we see Paul as the walrus because John right here is dressed up in Ringo's costume. Anyway, back to the story of the site. In the late 1980s, the site was reused as Kings Hill. This development was first planned in the late 1980s and began in around 1989. Nowadays, the site is, relatively developed, and nowadays very little of the original airport still survives, or airfield. Let's try to find the original part of the structure or of the site that still survives. Basically, this was a planned development that was in the shape of a town, I guess you could call it, in the form of a town. Here we see basically the site. And this took up majority of the land that was used. Now, we don't really know where the original structures were that were featured in the Beatles' Magical Mystery Tour. But what we do know is that this is the site that they were filming in, West Malling Airport, or Airfield. Now, right here is a bit more information on Kings Hill. So it says, Kings Hill is a civil parish in the borough of Tonbridge and Malling in Kent, England. It is one of the several new villages built in Kent since the 1950s. Development started in 1989 near West Malling on land previously occupied by the West Malling Airfield. Basically meaning this was the site of the Magical Mystery Tour's filming. It's really a shame that they had to demolish the site where the Beatles iconically played, where the Beatles were doing their thing. The West Malling Airfield really is an interesting site. As you can see right here, it's just very fascinating. It has a fascinating history, but sadly it was demolished. Here we see a photograph of the wall, and we see John's psychedelic car. Thank you guys for watching this video on the West Malling Airfield. Here we have a little plaque. Yep. It says here in 1967. Yep. So thank you guys for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe as we looked at the history of West Malling Airfield. And we looked at what the Beatles did to immortalize the site. Goodbye. Also, subscribe to the channel and support me on Patreon. Patreon is a great way to support your favorite creators. And I also have a Patreon. So far, I have no followers or no patrons. So if you want to be a patron to me, that would really help the channel. You could choose from several categories, and you can help me preserve history. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.